The war room in Verdun was thick with cigarette smoke and tension on December 19, 1944. General Dwight D. Eisenhower faced the greatest crisis of the Western Front as his commanders gathered around the map table. 3 days earlier, the Wehrmacht had unleashed Operation Wacht am Rhein, what history would call the Battle of the Bulge, smashing through American lines with 3 armies. The red arrows on the situation map showed German spearheads penetrating 20 miles into Belgium, threatening to split the Allied armies and possibly reach Antwerp. Eisenhower needed solutions, and he needed them immediately. Around the table sat the key architects of Allied victory: Omar Bradley, commanding 12th Army Group; George S. Patton, whose Third Army remained untouched south of the German breakthrough; Jacob Devers of 6th Army Group, and their staffs, 16 men who would determine the fate of the Western Front. The Supreme Commander's voice cut through the smoke: "I want to hold the shoulders and hit them from both sides." While the world would remember Patton's dramatic promise to pivot his army 90 degrees and relieve Bastogne in 3 days, another operation, equally vital but largely forgotten, would unfold on the southern shoulder of the Bulge. This is the story of how the 5th Infantry Division's capture of Echternach saved the Allied counteroffensive and possibly the entire campaign. The Bulge takes shape. By December 17th, the scope of the German offensive had become clear. In the north, Major General Leonard Giraud's 5 Corps bent, but didn't break. Walter Robertson's veteran 2nd Division withdrew to the twin villages of Krinkelt-Rocherath, while the Green 99th Division, after 1 platoon, incredibly held up an entire German division for a day, pulled back in good order. The situation in Troy Middleton's 8 Corps sector was more dire. 2 regiments of Alan Jones's inexperienced 106th Division were surrounded. Norman Cota's battle-worn 28th Division clung to small Luxembourg towns, Hosingen, Manarc, Clairvaux, making the Germans pay dearly for every crossroads. Further south, German assault troops crossed the Sauer River in rubber boats, attacking Raymond Barton's 4th Infantry Division. The Germans overran several outposts, but were stopped at Berdorf, Konsdorf, and other key towns. Most critically, they encircled Echternach, the only crossing point on the Sauer and the anchor of the German offensive's southern flank. Eisenhower had already released the 82nd and 101st Airborne from strategic reserve, while stripping the 7th Armored from Simpson's 9th Army and the 10th Armored from Patton. But these were bandages on a hemorrhaging wound. He needed a comprehensive plan. At Verdun, the solution emerged: hold both shoulders firmly while attacking the flanks. Bradley suggested Devers gradually assume Patton's southern positions, freeing Third Army for the counterattack. The discussion turned to Bastogne's vital road network, then to the possibility of Patton cutting the Bulge at its base. Eisenhower decided Patton should first strengthen the southern shoulder while driving for Bastogne. What followed was military choreography of the highest order. Patton would pivot 3 entire corps, Walker's XX on the left, Eddy's 12 on the right, with Milliken's untested 3 Corps in reserve. The maneuver required turning divisions that had been attacking east toward Germany 90 degrees north into the German flank. The race north Patton left Verdun for Walker's headquarters in Thionville, his mind already working through the logistics. He wanted Milliken's fresh corps driving for Bastogne while Walker attacked into the German flank between Echternach and Luxembourg City. But a problem emerged. Eddy's de 12th Corps was still far to the south and wouldn't arrive for days. Patton's solution was characteristic. He created a provisional corps on the spot. When General William Morris of the 10th Armored arrived at headquarters, he found Patton pacing like a caged lion. Looking up, Patton snapped, "You are in charge of the right flank around Luxembourg until 12 Corps arrives." Morris would command his own division's remaining elements, parts of the 9th Armored not sent to Bastogne, and Barton's battered 4th Infantry Division. "How long do I hold?" Morris asked. 4 or 5 days, and damn it, you had better hold." The afternoon of December 20th brought alarming news. Echternach had fallen. The 4th Infantry Division was pulling back. Patton revised his plan. Walker would hold in place, while Eddy's corps, once it arrived, would attack toward Echternach, alongside Milliken's drive to Bastogne. If they could retake Echternach and drive the Germans back across the Sauer, they would eliminate the threat to Milliken's flank and prevent the Germans from widening their offensive. The enemy holding Echternach was Franz Sensfuss's 212th Volksgrenadier Division, a typical late-war German formation mixing experienced officers and NCOs with teenage recruits, many transferred from the Navy and Luftwaffe. Despite their mixed quality, they carried the best weapons Nazi Germany could produce, including the revolutionary STG-44 assault rifle issued to every rifle company. The 5th Infantry Division. For this crucial mission, Patton turned to one of his most reliable units, Leroy Irwin's 5th Infantry Division. Irwin, a 1915 West Point graduate who had hunted Pancho Villa but missed World War I, had transformed the division into one of Third Army's best. They had raced across France during the August breakout, helped capture the fortress of Metz, and were pushing into Germany when the Ardennes offensive began. The logistical challenge was immense. The division had to disengage from combat at Saarlautern on the German border, move 30 miles southwest to Thionville, then 20 miles north to Luxembourg City, all while maintaining combat readiness. As truck convoys rolled through the frozen December nights, Patton worried the Germans might strike before Irwin could deploy. December 21st saw Eddy finally arrive and assume command from Morris. Patton called Eisenhower, who expressed concern that the counterattack was too rushed and too weak. Patton assured him that Milliken's December 22nd attack toward Bastogne would be followed by Eddy striking through Luxembourg toward Echternach, with Irwin's 5th Division and Morris's armor protecting Milliken's flank. Privately, Patton remained worried. "I wish I could conjure up just one more good division," he told his staff. "Shove it through the hole 12 Corps makes, and we'd go straight through to Berlin." Confusion reigned as units converged. Colonel Robert Bell, commanding the 5th Division's 10th Infantry Regiment, initially thought he would support the 80th Division in Milliken's corps. Instead, at a late-night meeting with the 4th Division staff, he learned his mission: pass through the 4th's critical defensive positions, attack objectives south of Echternach at noon on December 22nd, and rescue any cut-off 4th Division units. The attack begins. At 06:30 on December 22nd, as promised, Patton launched his counteroffensive in a driving snowstorm. Milliken's entire 3 Corps pushed north toward Bastogne. 5.5 hours later, Eddy sent Irwin's division northeast toward Echternach. Patton's active front now stretched 30 miles. Irwin could only commit one regiment initially. His 11th Infantry remained in reserve at Luxembourg City. The 2nd Infantry was still 6 miles from the start line, leaving Bell's 10th Infantry to attack alone toward Michelshof, 2 miles southwest of Echternach. Bell's troops advanced at noon through heavily wooded terrain directly into German forces, supported by artillery. They repelled a counterattack, but gained no ground. That evening, Eddy called Irwin with expanded orders. The division would spearhead a general offensive to drive the Germans across the Sauer. Irwin and his staff worked through the night, planning how to concentrate all 3 regiments and relieve the 4th Division before launching the main attack on December 24th. December 23rd dawned clear but bitterly cold. Bell's men attempted to advance through the woods, but 2 battalions became separated in the difficult terrain. Initial success capturing German outposts quickly turned to bitter fighting as enemy troops defended roadblocks, shell craters, and anti-tank ditches. German artillery, including captured American 105mm and 155mm guns, created deadly tree bursts. Without supporting artillery, several companies lost half their strength and withdrew to starting positions. As other regiments arrived throughout the day, Eddy's attack force took shape. Irwin's division would advance with elements of Morris's 10th Armored on the left and Colonel Charles Reed's 2nd Cavalry Group on the right, creating a 17-mile front from Diekirch to Echternach. The secret weapon the Americans would employ, a revolutionary new weapon. On December 16th, Patton had witnessed a demonstration of the proximity fuse, an artillery shell that used radio signals to detonate at a preset height rather than on impact. The effects against troops in the open were devastating. Despite his enthusiasm, Patton ordered the fuses kept secret until a critical moment. That moment had arrived. The Germans struck first on December 24th, but their company-sized probe was quickly contained. Irwin's attack launched at 1100 hours and immediately made progress. As Bell's troops penetrated 2 miles toward Echternach, the Germans counterattacked with infantry and assault guns. This time, American artillery equipped with proximity fuses exploded over the advancing Germans, shattering their assault. Supporting tanks and smoke screens enabled the Americans to seize vital high ground. On Bell's left, Lieutenant Colonel WorldWarII's 2nd Infantry attempted to flank Mühlethal, but found themselves exchanging fire in a narrow draw. One company was pushed back, while another became lost in the difficult terrain. By nightfall, Roffe's men were trapped at the bottom of a gorge under constant sniper fire. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Ewell's 11th Infantry, supported by armor, made better progress further west, relieving pressure on the stalled regiments. That evening, Patton received encouraging intelligence. German prisoners hadn't eaten in 3 days, and intercepted messages from the 5th Parachute Division reported they couldn't hold without reinforcement. "They are far behind schedule, and I believe beaten," Patton wrote in his diary. "If this is true, the whole army might surrender." Yet he remained cautious, remembering how the Germans had achieved surprise through this same region in 1940. They may repeat, but with what? Christmas Day victory. While public attention focused on Milliken's drive toward Bastogne, Patton understood Eddy's operation could choke off the German offensive at its base and potentially open the road to Trier, a major Wehrmacht supply center. He ordered his engineers, now 4 regiments strong, to prepare for exploitation toward Trier, while emphasizing to Bradley the multiple threats his army faced. On Christmas morning, Bell's men left their frozen foxholes at 7:30 and attacked through another wood. The Germans had withdrawn during the night, but established a new defensive line supported by assault guns and artillery. Progress was slow, as engineers cleared mines from forest trails. Some of Bell's men reached a ravine only to find its exits blocked by machine guns. Despite heavy fighting, Bell linked up with elements of the 4th Division also pushing east. As American forces reached the hills overlooking Echternach and the Sauer River, they unleashed their Christmas present for the Germans. The proximity fuses proved devastatingly effective. From their vantage points, American observers watched shells explode 30 feet above German infantry attempting to cross the Sauer by wooden bridge, rubber boats, or swimming. The carnage was terrible. Patton estimated 700 German dead, as survivors broke and fled back into Echternach. Attempting to relieve pressure on Echternach, the Germans launched a night attack 20 miles west at Ettelbruck and Bettendorf, but Raffa's 2nd Infantry held firm. News of the attack reached Patton during Christmas dinner with his staff at the Hotel Alpha in Luxembourg City. As the message circulated, the festive banquet hall emptied in seconds as officers rushed to their posts. The forgotten victory. In the early hours of December 26th, Bell's men entered the rubbled streets of Echternach. 3 days of fighting had annihilated 2 regiments of the 212th Volksgrenadier Division. They captured 159 prisoners, mostly 17 and 18-year-olds with minimal training. Interrogations revealed broken German promises of air cover and armored support. Significantly, prisoners specifically reported the terrific effect of the new artillery fuses. Eddy's call brought welcome news to Patton. Irwin's soldiers had secured the Bulge's southern shoulder, ensuring the Germans could not threaten Milliken's Bastogne offensive. Patton's diary noted with grim satisfaction the image of Germans swimming the Sauer under fire. Hardly a healthy pastime. To help hold Echternach, he reinforced Eddy with remnants from Cota's 28th Division. Yet despite this strategic victory, Patton's diary that afternoon reflected frustration. Today has been rather trying, as in spite of all our efforts, we have failed to make contact with the defenders of Bastogne. 5 hours later, tanks from Hugh Gaffey's 4th Armored Division broke through to Bastogne. The relief of Bastogne made headlines worldwide, while Echternach's capture, equally vital to Allied success, faded into historical footnote. Legacy. The capture of Echternach represented more than a local tactical success. By securing the southern shoulder of the Bulge, Irwin's division prevented the Germans from widening their offensive and threatening Patton's entire counterattack. The successful debut of proximity fuses added a devastating new weapon to American artillery, already considered the best in the world. Most importantly, the operation validated Eisenhower's strategy of holding the shoulders while attacking the flanks, a concept that would define the Allied reduction of the Bulge over the following month. For the men of the 5th Infantry Division who fought through frozen forests and crossed fire-swept valleys, Echternach was their finest hour. They had executed one of the war's most complex operations, a 90-degree pivot while in contact with the enemy, followed by a coordinated attack in terrible weather against prepared defenses. Their victory secured not just a town, but the southern anchor of the entire Allied line. While history remembers Patton's race to Bastogne, the fight for Echternach deserves equal recognition. It demonstrated American tactical flexibility, the importance of combined arms operations, and the critical role of economy of force operations that enable main efforts elsewhere. In the snow-covered hills above the Sauer River, American soldiers won a forgotten victory that helped save the Allied cause in the largest battle ever fought by the United States Army.